What's going on, y'all? St. Pipe here, aka Black Native. I'm feeling real good today. How you doing? Good? All things working for your good? That's good. All things working for mine as well. Thanks for asking. Right now, I'm just on the Mississippi River. If y'all don't know, I live in Louisiana in the New Orleans area. I'm just sitting out here thinking, and I will remember what someone who visited my page, a subscriber, said, Michele Bell. She asked, why is it so easy for me to forgive other people, and why is it not so easy for me to forgive myself, right? First of all, I want to start by saying I share that experience. I've been in positions where I've made mistakes or done things or made different decisions that I regret or wish I didn't, right? And that left me feeling the same way, where I was in a position where I had to forgive myself for the things that I did, after blaming myself, after believing that it was all my fault, and putting a lot of the stress on myself, right? So I do want to say you are not alone on that, Michele Bell. This is, I believe, what a lot of people who practice self-reflection and going on the inside experience, right? But I'm gonna offer you some questions, right? You said, why is it so easy for you to forgive others? My question to you is, do you believe that you are separate, completely separate from others, right? Do you believe you can forgive others and not just forgive yourself? Do you believe that's even possible? Is it possible to forgive one party of a situation without forgiving the other party of the situation? To me, forgiveness is a simultaneous mutual agreement, and it basically takes both parties to be fully forgiven and move on, and for it to even happen. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a treaty. So you gotta think, am I truly forgiving him? And if I'm not forgiving myself, that's if it's two different parties, right? That's if you got a situation like that. One, if it's something that's between you and you, right? It has nothing to do with somebody else. Things that you've done with you and yourself, right? Do you believe that you hold yourself to a higher standard? Do you expect more from yourself? Because I know I expected more from myself, right? I held myself to such a high standard, whether that was good, appropriate, valid, or anything like that. I actually held myself to a higher standard, and I realized that. Now that could be something that's kind of weird to admit, like, yeah, I think I'm better than that. I think I'm better than these other people, right? That's why it's hard for me to forgive myself. Or you could be in a position where you think you're worse than these other people. That could be even tougher. That could be even tougher for you to forgive yourself for that reason, right? These are the questions I want you to really think about. Anybody who's watching this video, if it's hard for you to forgive yourself, what's your relationship with yourself? I know for me, like, it's hard for me to forgive people who I give a lot of respect to, honor, who I invested so much into, right? It's harder for you to forgive sometimes loved ones, lovers, partners in life that you've been through so much with. And I believe we have that relationship with ourselves, right? We are the partners of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So we've invested so much into ourselves that, and we expect so much from ourselves, that when we disappoint ourselves, we scrutinize, shun, even try to abandon a part of ourselves sometimes. Try to put away. And we make it hard on ourselves, and that does not allow true forgiveness. You're not just one person. You're 2, 3, 4, 5. You're a complete being, right? So your relationship with yourself is very important. Every part of you, every aspect has to be in alignment, has to be in agreement, has to be loving. So forgiveness is a big part of love. forgiveness is a big part of love. You have to say, all right, I forgive me, right? But those are some questions, you know. Can you really forgive somebody else if you don't forgive yourself? I don't believe so. I believe even in my life, I thought I was forgiving people, but I really wasn't. You know, because you have to, if you can't do it with yourself, could you really do it with somebody else? These are just questions. I'm not telling you the answers, but these are very important questions. We are all one, right? If we are all one, and I just gave you a fractal example. If you don't know what fractal is, look it up, right? Fractal geometry or whatever. I just gave you an example of we are one, right? We are one individual with many parts. Well, we represent a part of one individual, which is humanity. And that humanity represents a part of one individual, which is nature. And nature represents a part of, you see what I'm saying? Of one complete universe. So if you are one with your brother or your sister, right? And you think you could forgive them and not forgive yourself because y'all are one. So, and I just explained that all parties, what I believe, have to be in agreement, have to at least speak about it, have to allow mistakes and forgiveness. But doesn't that make sense? Like, that makes sense to me. And again, in my life, you know, I noticed that I was really hard on myself and I was easy on other people because for me, I expected more. I always knew I was chosen. I always thought I was so smart and brilliant, and I'm just being honest right now. I always thought I was somebody and something, and I put too much pressure on myself. But you have to realize that mistakes, depending on your perspective, are just lessons, right? So you have nothing to forgive yourself about sometimes. Sometimes it's nothing to forgive yourself about. Sometimes it's just a lesson you gotta learn, that you chose to learn. I believe we sign up for these lives. We're not just, you know, cast into this ethereal plane, cast into existence. I believe we sign up for this. Everything is a choice. And once you realize that, it'll be easier for you to forgive yourself. Say, I made that decision, I made that choice. I did that, I did it, you know, and that's all right. Each part of me agreed on that decision, and I did it. Sometimes it's hard to forgive ourselves too when we go through with something and we feel like we wasn't all in, or we didn't listen to our intuition when we made a decision. But that's all right. That's life. That's life. You know what I'm saying? Real. But I love y'all. St. Piper here, aka Black Native. I'm feeling real good today. All things working for my good. Thanks for asking. You are a complete being, you know what I'm saying? And I just want you to know that, man. I go through things too, you know. I got a story too. And your story is your story, but you gotta forgive yourself to move on and live the rest of your story. And honestly, I thank you for this question, Michele Bell. You gave me something to think about myself, and that's probably a lot of people who could benefit from this message. It's a beautiful day. If you got any questions, anybody else, definitely leave them down in the comment section. And I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it and my inner wisdom. All praise to Yahawah. Peace, love.